There we go. Nice. That's what I get for trying to actually like doing the scheduling thing on YouTube. I don't know why. I guess I'm probably missing something in how to do that. So, oh well. I'll figure that out for a future week. But thanks for putting up with it and telling me. I am working on a project as we go through today's questions. If anybody has anything, and I actually, where'd it go? There we go. I am working on, if I have an example in my drawer here. So the bases for this product that I've been talking about for quite a while have the magnets in there. And part of the issue, well, it's not an issue, but one of the things I need to consider in the workflow that I'm doing is they need to be facing the correct direction. And then the top pieces that go on also have to have the same direction so they stick. If I start selling these and selling a lot of them potentially, that's going to be, I need to make sure that they're all consistent in case I ever have to send out replacement parts or I make new tops that are not available for sale right away. So today we're going to walk through and actually work on a little bit of the design for this and kind of make a jig so I can easily do that. And yes, allergies are killing me hard, so if you guys want to like clip every time I sneeze or something, feel free. As I start with an Etsy order, 3D print, you went live. Definitely help me. Hey, that's awesome. Archie, what do you sell? That would be cool. Know how things are working for you. But I got to remember also to stay over on this side of the screen so I'm not in the way. But long story short, nothing too crazy. I took the existing model that I have for this product and duplicated it. And now I just need to go ahead and create this. So these are going to be the recesses for the magnets. We'll go ahead and push that in 1.5 millimeters. I'll double check. Yeah, so we're looking at just shy of 2 is actually the diameter or the thickness of these magnets. But we'll go ahead and do 1.5. I want them to protrude just slightly. And that face is going to be down on the print bed, which is going to be cool. And then what I'd like to do, actually, if I can show that, it's basically just going to be another base, but I'd like to have a way that I can quickly attach 4 magnets to it so I know they're facing the correct direction. And then I'll just put it, basically, that will align them, put it in the center of the other base, and then just slide it horizontally, and that will keep the magnets to the build plate. And then I just need to make 2 of those. But I need some type of handle to grip it on the sides, so that'd be cool. Hello, Farby, 3 a.m. gang. Jeez. Thanks for the dedication, but feel free to get some sleep. That would be super easy. I am using Shaper 3D as my software. It is actually really easy to use. Oh yeah, and this color filament, by the way, is the terracotta from Bamboo Labs. I just tried out a roll, and I think I'll buy some more in my next order. Well, actually I should, because I'm going to be selling this product in terracotta. Question, I was wondering, and this is from Brenner, I was wondering how you know if a product idea is worth making. I'm thinking of making more refined products where I spent a lot of time refining, but I want to know if it's a good idea first. I don't is actually the answer. The more annoying the problem for me, the more I think it's likely to sell. The nice thing about 3D printing and selling on Etsy or online is you don't really need to do all of that upfront research. You know, I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank or not, but well, every once in a while we'll go on a binge of Shark Tank and watch like 50 episodes. But for those types of products and the people going on Shark Tank, they need to do that research. A lot of those people have like large manufacturing. They're doing injection molding or some other type of manufacturing with metal. and it requires a large upfront investment for the tools that are required, and then you have to also go to the manufacturer to get that stuff done. 3D printing is not like that. You know, I can design something I think is cool for very low cost, and then just put it online to see if it sells. So I think the risk factor is very low. That's why I don't do a lot of upfront research on vetting if an idea is a good seller. If I put, you know, you kind of got to put a cap on it for yourself, but let's say I spend 10 hours making a product and 20 bucks, you know, what's the opportunity cost of that? You know, it's a little bit different for everybody, but, you know, let's say like 30 bucks, 300, 400 bucks to test out if you think an idea is good. That's including your time and the money you spent on filament. I mean, that's not a bad investment to launch something overall. Very low barrier. But anyway, okay, so we've got this model. Now I just need to put some handles on it. What I think I'll do is actually, we'll start a new sketch on top here. Yeah, glad you're here. Thanks for joining the live streams. We'll just do a line down. And I will say, the way I'm using the software right now for this little tool is not how I'd recommend using it, like if you're actually designing a product, because it has parametric abilities, and which are all of these things. But I'm not really using that right now because I just want to do something quick and dirty so I can have a tool. It's really not that critical. What do I think of the new Bamboo Lab H2? I don't know, actually. I think I'm still trying to figure out the use case for the Bamboo Lab H2. It is very large, and I have a very small space, so it would take up a considerable amount of space. Mixing a laser cutter in the same machine that uses like filament, that's an interesting choice. I don't know, you know, from everybody I've talked to who has dedicated laser machines, like they smell. So even if you have ventilation and stuff, they'd still leave like a scent. So it'd be weird to have that within the same machine. Honestly, it's one of those things where I would just have to have one to test it out and let you guys know, but I'm not going to invest that kind of money at the moment on that machine. I would rather get 2 more P1Ss. And then the other thing was the 2 nozzle heads looked really interesting for doing like support filament. But I don't know if, like, the fact that the secondary spool of filament has to be external or in a different, like, you know, dryer unit, it's kind of odd. So I don't know. I think it's like a step in the right direction. The build plate, obviously, that size is great. Hey, Designs by Broadhead, glad you're here. Everybody else in chat, Designs by Broadhead, who's in here as well, is another YouTuber that you can follow along and doing small business and designing and selling things on Etsy. So feel free to check his channel out as well. Yeah, Zentero, dual extruder implementation, cool, but just too expensive. I mean, at that point, if you want the multiple extruders, maybe look at the Prusa, was it the XL, Prusa XL? And that would be the coolest. All right, so what I'm doing here is making the little handles. We're gonna trying to think of like what size is my thumb to grab it. I'm probably gonna do maybe 20, 25 on that. We'll go like that. That'll make nice little handles, and that's a start. And I actually messed one other thing up here. I'll show you guys a cool function that would be helpful. So let's do this, and we'll do 25. And then we'll go ahead and round this off because it would look better. Sure, little handle. And then we'll go in here. I'm going to use 2 lines to make construction lines to find the center. Construction lines basically just mean that don't mess with anything when you're selecting geometry. Let's see, another question here. Got my P1S today and got a lot of what I expect to be heat creep when printing. Since you were working when running with your open door, have you experienced it? Okay, so I did my last video was actually like pulling the printer apart and having to take filament out, and everybody was saying it's heat creep, which I was unaware of. So I probably had heat creep. What I will say though is I have had 0 issues with heat creep and the P1S since buying it until I put custom G code into a print file that I was doing for this product actually. And that's what caused the issue, because what ended up happening was I was running the printer, and then I wanted it to pause the printer and then lower the print bed, which I'll talk more about in my video on Sunday. And the G-code that I was using actually did not turn off the heating element within the heat bed or the nozzle itself. So it stopped pushing filament, it stopped moving the nozzle, and then it just basically kept heating it up. So the heat creep that I experienced was completely user error. And the reason was I used ChatGPT to generate that code for me. I've actually now found code from somebody who wrote it that does work. And I'll share that with everybody on Sunday. But overall, no, I've not experienced heat creep even with the door closed. Just don't put in custom G-code unless you absolutely know what you're doing. Let's see here. Ethan says, currently running a small 3D printing business. What advertising do you for products, and does it vary on kind of products you make? Stay away from advertising unless you know you have a winner product. That's what I would say. Your best bet is to spend the time doing the marketing, which is different than advertising, right? So when you think of advertising, it is a subset of marketing. Marketing is like the 4 Ps: place, price, promotion, and product. You'll be better off if you start a Instagram account or a TikTok account or something like that and share small videos and pictures of the products and try to generate an influx of people to buy your product that way, and or list on like Etsy, because they already have a customer base that you can leverage. But don't spend money when you first launch a product, especially at the beginning, unless you know for a fact that it's a winner product. I think that's one area where like Shark Tank and some of those other companies, or not companies, but those like shows give a different perspective, not a wrong perspective of how to start a business. But again, the whole way I'm doing it and proposing you should start a business is by not taking those types of risks. And advertising is a financial risk. Let's see. Mike says, seen more frustrations from users, don't like the X1C, but have both the X1C and A1. Shoulda bought 3 more A1s for the price of X1. Yeah, I think the X1C is overkill unless you like absolutely need ASA or some of those other filaments. Let's see here. Even Crypt says it's even more interesting since in interview for the HD2D, they say the laser is really for light duty. And that's the other thing. So I know, again, some people who have dedicated laser machines, and that wattage, it just really isn't going to be able to cut a lot or anything of real thickness. So it's more of just like maybe putting a little logo on something. Yep, I agree. Don't spend money right away. Yeah, Mike, so interesting enough, I did run a massive print that took a day and a half of straight printing. And now it was doing filament changes, so perhaps there's a little bit of reduction of heat creep during that time, but it was PLA, and I had 0 problems, and the print was phenomenal. It could also help that I'm in my basement, so even during the summer, I'm underground essentially. Like, this is the height of the ground outside, is my window there. So I'm constantly in a relatively climate controlled environment for temperature. So that could be a benefit to me as well. Something to think about, but anyway. So we're gonna do this and we'll match that up there. That's not what we want. We want 20, because that I'm trying to match this radius. It's actually a radius. This is a diameter, so we'll do that. And for those using Shaper, when you're using the constraint settings, the thing you select first is like the parent that is constraining. So like I want to constrain the parent, this line to this circle, and then when I do tangent, it will move the child rather than the parent. If you do it the other way around, it will try to like move the lines that you weren't expecting. But we did all of that, so I can go in here and click move, and then we'll do, let's do 3. That looks good. The nice thing is this, again, is all just by look and feel here. And we'll just inset it a little bit. We'll do 3 again. I can turn off this sketch here. We'll go ahead and grab this, and we'll do a nice, let's see, do I want to do a fillet? No, we'll do a chamfer because it will work better, and we'll make the chamfer the same, like this. Now I just want to go ahead and clean up these lines a little bit. Really what I should have done is deleted that, but oh well. Again, this is just a tool for myself. It's gonna bother me if I don't fix it. So let's go ahead and delete that and move it out to match. We'll offset to the face. Can I do offset to face? I believe so. Might have to go in here. So face offset, edit. There's a way to do it. Sometimes it will snap. That's what I'm trying to find. Do offset. Oh, come on. The other option is we just go halvesies. Maybe I just go halvesies. We'll do -5. Nah, it's too thin. It looked cooler the other way. Could do this as well. I wish I knew the actual, it's gonna bother me. We'll have to figure that out in a second here. Let's go back to some more questions. Let's see, designing something exactly like that. Zoom in just a little bit. Whammo. Is that zoomed in? You can also get rid of this. How's Etsy ads been doing? Not great, honestly. I've kind of a little disappointed in the ads, but again, I think with Etsy ads, the trick is to test things out, find a listing that is a winner, and then once you find a winner product, then you can kind of double down on the ads. But the other thing is, Etsy is like a mass appeal platform, right? So almost everything that I make, except for I'm trying to make some more like mass market type items, are really like specific to a product. So like my hopper, for instance, is geared to people who have that exact item. They need to have that exact coffee grinder, and I can't, it's hard to advertise for that because Etsy wants to like kind of get it in front of everybody who likes coffee or does these other things, but that's not the customer for that. You physically have to own the coffee grinder for it to even make sense to buy. So that's I think the issue for me on the Etsy ads. Now this product that I'm making here, this is one that could be a really good, oh, I just figured it out, sorry. This could be a really good product that could work with advertising because it's more mass market. So if I do offset here, we go to edit. See, it should be able to, there is a way to do snap to face with the offset, but whatever. Yeah, Etsy is a place that people can steal ideas from, but I wouldn't, again, for me, like, that's not really a concern because I'll just move on to another idea. If you have like an idea that's so good that you're like really, really, really concerned about people stealing it, like maybe this type of business model is not the right fit, if that makes sense. You might want to think of more of like traditional with like a patent or something like that. But for me, that's not a concern. Not at all a concern for me. Because I think I've spoken about it before, but if I ever have a situation where someone steals my idea, I will just move on to the next one and design a new product. The individual product ideas are not what make my business and me special. It's my brain, me as a personal brand, and then being able to come up with new ideas. And potentially down the road, it would be cool to help other people solve their ideas as well. All right, so there we go. This is going to be the little gadget. I'll need 2 of these. One of them is going to be for the top side, so I'll need to make sure the magnets are orientated correctly. Orientated, I think that's a word. And then the reverse for it, and I'll need to label them. So actually, let's do another thing here. Let's go in here and do copy. Just move it over. And I want to make sure that I give these the right names. So let's do top for one. And let's see, what text do I want to use? I don't know why. I really like this gluten font. You can get all these fonts. If you need fonts, sorry, this is a side tangent, but if you need fonts for a project that you're working on, you can go into Google Fonts and download a whole bunch of them and install them on your computer. Google Fonts are free for everybody and free usable for commercial use, which is sweet. And they've got really a lot of options. There are some better typefaces that are not free, but for the most part, I've never run into a situation where I needed something other than what Google has accessible. Have you ever considered selling public domain or open license models to buff up your catalog while Etsy and you're designing your own products? Cryptnik, not yet. I'm not sure I like the idea of that because I'm a huge proponent of everybody coming up with their own unique products and selling them. It's a good idea. So don't get me wrong, selling your own, selling licenses does open some doors, but I'm not there yet. Not sure if that's something that I want to do right now or in the future, but I have thought about it before. All right, we'll do one more. We'll go in here, do text, and we'll do bottom, or we'll do base. It's a little shorter. I do sell some STL files online, and I am fully aware that those might get, I'm basically going to say stolen, because I do put on there that if you buy the STL files from me, they're free for personal use only, not for commercial. But it's kind of the, oh, that's weird. It went all the way down. Oh, I know why. I needed to do a sketch. You know, it's a little bit different than if you put something online, it's likely going to get taken and used in the way that you did not intend. That's just the nature of being online, unfortunately, but not much I can do about that. If I'm bumbling through my words today, I think someone called it out, but my allergies are like in a war with me today, and they are hardcore winning. So I'm just trying to make it through. I think I did one. I did not. Go down and fix that. It's just, that's another thing that's going to bother me. What did I do? I did -2. We'll just do -1. Nice. Let's see. What is your dream goal for your business in the future? What would your perfect business look like? I would like to wake up in the morning, go downstairs and make a nice cup of coffee, which this is not. This is ginger tea with local honey to help my allergies. Spend some time with my family. Go out, come downstairs or out to where my workshop is and work on product designs. Maybe have some collaborations with other people doing some other stuff. Maybe do some networking and talking with small business owners trying to get their stuff off the ground and do some help with them with some consulting or mentorship. And then make YouTube videos. I think that's it. I think a good analogy would be like Simone Gertz. I brought her up before. I think she's just a really good case for what I'm talking about. It would be fun to be able to work on cool products that then you figure out the larger manufacturing process. So like I'm selling stuff directly with 3D printing and it's totally viable. The products are great. They look good. And I want that to be a component going in the future. But I think it would also be cool to find some like really nice products that, or ideas that would require the more traditional business route, that like what you see on Shark Tank, where you need to go out and get the manufacturing and use this as like a foot into that, and then potentially sell business down the road. That would be cool. yeah, I kind of have like a loose plan, but nothing super specific. And then also, I haven't talked too much about it, but I'm in the works on. I've been trying to like drum up some small manufacturing run business. Nothing at the scale of like Slant 3D. I'm not interested in doing that, but I'm thinking like if I could get up to like a 40 unit print farm, that would be pretty ideal. How do you price STL files to sell? One product took me over 80 hours to design and build out. Holy cow. So the main things that go into pricing for me are time on printer. I charge $1.50 per hour on the printer. Sometimes I vary that. And then filament usage with a 15 or 20% markup. And then all the components that go into that, if there's additional components. And then if there's any assembly required, charge for that as well. So think of what you want your hourly rate to be. And then from there, I take that as what would be the landed cost. And I use Etsy's fee structure to do the math in reverse. So it will take what my landed cost is to get that product and to ship it, right? So that includes packing material, boxes, and potentially shipping if I'm shipping it for free. And then, like, let's say, this is just gonna be really rough numbers because I don't know the exact numbers, I'd have to look them up. But like if you have a $10 product and Etsy charges a 2.5% fee, for example, which is not accurate, but for example. So normally if you sold it for $10, you'd have to give Etsy $2.50, or sorry, 20, oh my gosh, that's 25%. 25 cents, is it, right? Or something like that. Whatever the math is, I'm gonna blame this on allergies, is you would actually do the math in reverse. So to make sure that you make $10 at the end, if you're tracking along with what I say, you actually need to do the math so you times that by 0.27, which is over what they charge in the fees, and then add that on top of your landed cost. I'm gonna do a future video on pricing because it kind of gets wonky, but that makes it so as you set your price, you can actually know what you're making with the fees in place. And I use that to tell me what my little calculator tells me what I think, what I should charge for it. And then once I know how much to charge, like a good example is, let me go find it actually. I've got one right over here. So I'm gonna disappear for just a second. Oh no, I put it in a box. I don't have it, but I can show you the model. Let me show you the model real quick. The Soda Caddy, which is right here. So this model, it's to hold my soda cans, and I really like it. It's pretty sweet, but based on all the math and the numbers in my system, it tells me that I need to sell that for like $23 or $24, and I have it priced at $24.95 because that's like the minimum price that I can sell it for to make it worth my time. So the downside to that is I've only sold one, and it is just not an economical product to really sell. I'm gonna leave it up on the store just in case people wanna buy it, but I am now selling the STL file for personal use, which is cool. But anyway, sorry. I am like all over the place today with my allergies and trying to do this. I'll be honest, it's really hard to 3D model and like do two things at once while also chatting, but we're totally doing it. Let's see. Pricing to sell. Oh, sorry. I just did that whole thing, Mike, and you were asking about something else. I charge $5 for STL files. Now, the difference, if you put 80 hours into it, my Dice Boy, this guy, which has some electronics, it's got like assembly guide and everything else. This took me maybe not 80 hours, but more close to what you're talking about with the product you made. I sell this file, the STL file, for $10. And I think that's a fair price point. And I still get orders for that, which is great. So pretty cool. But everything else I sell for $5. It makes it easy. You know, I'd rather get a sale than not get a sale, and I think it's a fair price, especially because there's so many models and so many STLs and so many people who are willing to sell stuff for free that, like, if you go too high, it's just hard to compete. And at that point, you're just having people buy it because they want to support you, which is also nice. Kaz, you said you could expect to pay an experienced product designer $150 an hour if you were learning modeling and design. Yeah. So I actually, in a lot of my pricing structures, charge $150 per hour, and I only charge that on the assembly cost. So like the packaging and stuff, like if this product I'm estimating to print and take it off the printer and package it will take me about 6 minutes to do that. So at the $150 per hour rate, that's about $10. I believe that's the math that you add on to, or in the landed cost structure. Yeah, Zentero. So that's the trick, is finding the balance between products that are cool, but then also can sell. And that's, I think, the hard part. But the nice thing, again, 3D printing is perfect for this because you can find those products by actually listing them and just letting the market tell you if they think your product is worthwhile or not, which is cool. All right, we've got the top and the bottom. I think I might do this. I'd like to do it in colors too. That'd be nice. But either way, I'm just going to go ahead and export these and get them set up. And we'll do couch table tool. Cool. I can actually show Bamboo Studio too. Why not? As I get these in here. Give me just a second here. Create a new project. Let me go ahead and get my screen switched over. I think I can duplicate this screen, which would be really handy. Duplicate, duplicate, copy. That's so weird. Oh, I can do paste. All right, so we'll minimize that one. So we'll do window capture, and we will go to Bamboo Studio. Should be in here somewhere. Holy cow, there's so many Bamboo Studios. Let me see if there's a different setting. Application capture. Oh no, I just need to minimize. All right, there we go. Now we got Bamboo Studio live. We are live, doing it live. Let's see here. Guess I suggest the labor starting prints, pulling them, packaging them would be much lower rate. Yeah, so actually the reason why I charge a much higher rate on the time thing rather than doing like 30 is because I'm lumping in all of my time into that calculation. If I really wanted to get specific, I would do like $30 or $40 per hour. The other thing to think about is if you're an employee for somebody else, right? $30 an hour is good, but the thing with that is they also give you benefits, and there's a lot of other financial burdens that the business takes on as you for you as you're their employee. So $30 an hour working for somebody else is great. $30 an hour working for yourself is not good. That is not a sustainable way to make a business, because you have higher taxes potentially, and you have to pay those taxes. And then depending on how you have your business set up, there's other things too. So I would say at a minimum, and this is like, I think consulting is probably a close analogy to this. Like the minimum you'd probably want to charge as a consultant is about $75 per hour if you're out on your own and running your own business. So don't undercut yourself on your hourly rate if you're running your own business. All right, let me go ahead and import these. Nice. We'll go ahead and flip them. Let's see. Next question is some of the project concepts. Nick says, it feels pretty on point. I look at some of the projects that Concept Bytes makes, and those large scale projects are solid for $10 rather than making money on it versus nothing. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I actually don't know of that person. but I'll have to check that out. Have you gotten any further into looking at Amazon store? Last I heard you're looking into it. I finally got approved for my Amazon sellers account. I am trying to learn the ropes. There's a lot to it. I have not gotten that far, be really honest, but it finally got verified after like, I don't know, 2.5 weeks of issues on that front. So now I can actually do it, and I actually better take action on it because I just paid $40 to have access to their system. So I'm now paying them money. So if I don't use it, I'm wasting money. Have you tried TikTok Shop? Kind of in the same boat. I need to finalize a couple things on the TikTok Shop before I can even start making products or listing products there. But yes, I'm getting that in the works. Curtis asks, have you tried advertising outside of Etsy, like Reddit or Google? And the answer is no, not yet. Again, I would say lean on the free marketing efforts. That just takes your time and creativity to do before dumping money into ads. Let's go ahead and split these. Split into parts. Okay, or split into parts. I always do the wrong one. There we go. So I'm actually going to print this on my A1 minis since I got another product that I'm working on currently in the works. Let's see here. What's the opinion on the P1S in your print farm? Is it worth the price? What do you like or not like about it? Love the P1S for the print farm. It's fantastic. It is just a great machine. It just works. And even when I did the disassembly last weekend, it wasn't too bad. So that's good. But yeah, I would say Shop Nation, another channel, he did a full breakdown because he actually spent all the money, and I think he's got, what, 40 printers or something like that? All P1Ss or P1Ps, one of the two. But he has like a temperature controlled room that he's got set up for his print farm. He uses those and did a full year and then did a full analysis, and he's an engineer. So he had detailed notes and numbers on all of it. And he basically said like, they're phenomenal for print farms. So definitely worth the buy. That was really reassuring when I saw that video come out of why I should look at these as I grow. Wow, that's sweet. 4K in sales last 9 months starting on Amazon. That's great. The P series isn't very competitive wise anymore, hardware wise. I don't know. I actually don't know about that. I think if you look at the spec sheets, I would agree with you. There are a lot of other printers out there that are on par with the P1S or the Bamboo printers, but I don't think consistency and durability wise, they're maybe the same. I haven't seen that bore out yet in the market. And then even price wise, like they did go up, right? So I got this one right before the tariffs affected the pricing. So I got it for $8.99 with the combo. I think it was $8.99 or $7.99, whatever the combo price was originally. And now for the same combo, it's $1,050 for the same unit. So it went up by $250 or so. Seems like a lot, right? But again, I'm at the point where my investments are no longer for a hobby. So if I were to buy another printer for a hobby, an additional $250 for that hobby is very expensive. But if you're using it as a manufacturing tool for a business, again, 3D printing is bar none the cheapest entry point for almost any manufacturing that I've seen or know. There might be something else that I'm not aware of, but like this is such an inexpensive tool in the grand scheme of things for how much money it can make you if you actually put in the work. So even with the $250 price increase through tariffs, which I don't like, but it is what it is, I will still buy another one when I need it because I'll make that money back relatively quickly. JIGL, yeah, A1 combo is another great option if you want to save some money. Honestly, they probably are they're the same in quality. I'll be honest on that. They quality-wise, they're same. The P1S is only about 15% faster. For me, it was really a matter of space. The P1S, space-wise, is more space efficient with the AMS unit than the A1. So, and it's also slightly drafty in my basement, so this helps mitigate drafts. So those two things were big factors in my decision process. But let me double check what I've got going on here for filament. I've got red, so, and I've got a blue. I might want to put like a black filament on my thing, but I'll do this later. We're just going to do a standard slice. I think nothing crazy. Yeah, we're not going to do anything fancy. It's just a tool for me to help assemble a product. So we'll just leave it as is. Let me go ahead and get my screen flipped back. You know what? I think that's enough modeling for today. We've got about, I don't know, a few minutes left, so I'll just go ahead and continue chat with you guys. In the future, though, I would like to do more modeling as we do these live streams because it's actually quite fun. But let me pop this up. All right. Questions are for the Amazon FBA. Are you going to do it yourself, or you have any good resources? The only other resources I have for this type of stuff are some other YouTubers who are in the boat, and I'm chatting with them about tips and suggestions that they have. I would say I actually might do fulfilled by merchant, FBM, because there's a bunch of extra steps that you have to take for fulfilled by Amazon. So I'm looking at both of those, but I would like to do fulfilled by Amazon because I think the reason people use Amazon is because they're 2-day shipping, and you can take advantage of their Prime memberships if they're doing the fulfillment. So I'll have to check that out. It says Amazon generates, this is from JIGL, it says Amazon generates my own ASIN and SKU, which go on the FBA label. So that's great. That's one of the things I'm finding out. I do have to buy some more labels because I think they come in like the smaller form factor labels. So I'll probably end up doing that. Yeah. Mark, yeah. So actually, I'm talking about Bamboo Lab because that's the experience I have. There are other printers, and I'll be honest with you guys. I've had some printer companies reach out to me and ask if I would be willing to take a printer on for review, and I've not accepted any of them for the reason of I'm not sure if they are a product that I would be willing to use in my own shop, right? So for me, it's like the things that I want to like discuss with you guys business-wise are like, are they things that I would buy myself? And frankly, up to this point, there are no, other than Prusa printers, there are no other printers that I would buy for my print farm on my own. So until I see some, print company come out and have like just a killer product, I know Creality, I think, has one, the Centauri Carbon. Sounds like it might be a close competitor, but again, I think it's still in the proving grounds at the moment. At that point, then maybe I'll explore those options and talk about it. Talk about design. Yeah, Mark, feel free to follow along because we do talk about all that other stuff too. Trying to just cover all bases and answer questions as they come in. I think you set your product differently than myself. It's just me, SKU labels, and provided free by Amazon. Yeah, I'm so early on. I don't even think I'm at that point yet. So I just need to get in there. Have you considered Make Place by Michaels? It's Michaels' version of Etsy. Really? That's a thing? Make Place. Michaels. Is it actually called Make Place? I'm not seeing it. Did I read your post wrong? No, Make Place by Michaels. Make Place by Michaels. Oh, is it Maker Place? Maker Place. Well, their website don't look great if this is what it is, but yeah. Yeah, I can check that out. Doesn't hurt to get on another platform. Cool. FlashForge has good printers. Yeah, I've seen some stuff from that too. I've not had a chance to use any FlashForge printers, but again, I am also limited on space too. So it's like, Definitely worth, every time I think about getting something new for the space, I'm always like, where am I going to put it? You know, maybe down in the future, I'll have some space to actually add some additional things. But would you ever do some beginner shaper 3D videos? I'm just getting started. Would be curious to see how you get started in your process. Yeah, I might be willing to do that. I think it would be, yeah, I'll have to think of how to weave that in. I've tried to actually stay away from like the straight up tutorials on that piece, because it is those videos are honestly like really hard to make, not because they're inherently challenging, but because they require so much work, planning and editing. It's tough to fit into the schedule. So I think if I have time, I will consider doing that. Yeah, so Hikerus Game Channel and Computer Technology. I've always wondered why people do not self-host their own stores to avoid all the fees and stuff, but again, advertisement is probably the killer to get traffic out. Yeah, so that's the big piece, right? Etsy has their own customer base. So when you tap into Etsy, eBay, Amazon, TikTok Shop, they already have customers. So that's well, not necessarily TikTok Shop, kind of they do, but that's the big piece of it, right? Is you're paying the larger fees because they have customers already that potentially would want to buy your product. I do have my own website, but you have to drive the traffic there, and that's very expensive to do. K Schaefer, cool. Anycubic Cobra 3 or the S1? More good options for people. Again, I just don't have experience with them, so I don't have much I can talk about on that front. All right, we've got time for, I think, just a couple more questions if anybody has any. While we're doing that, this weekend's video is going to be talking about actually a little bit of what we designed today. I'll be going over how I'm going to be using that and why I'm using it. And then also some of the things I did with G-Code to discuss manufacturing efficiency for this specific product so I can create consistency. I know that I'm prone to missing small details, so I'm trying to set up a system so I literally can't mess it up. So that's a piece of it. And then that's going to be kind of the bulk of that video, which will be cool. I hope it's a good one. If you like what you're seeing here, feel free to like and subscribe. Next week, I do have live streams. They're normally at 3 p.m. I will have to look more into the scheduling thing because today's schedule got all weird. I tried to do the pre-scheduled video and like it wasn't working. So I'll just say 3 p.m. again and I'll launch it at that time. And let's see here. How to negotiate shipping prices. I'm in Canada and the shipping cost here is insane, like 15. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I will say one thing I am working on is working on partnerships to manufacture my products and somebody else's products from their shops to the other person's. So that way we basically don't have to ship across the ocean or to another country. We're skipping that entire piece entirely and just manufacturing each other's stuff and shipping locally, which can kind of avoid that piece of it. Yeah. Well, I think that's where we're going to cut it off today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you as always. Again, video coming out this Sunday, live stream next week, and I'll give some updates on the business. And until then, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day.